There's no discussion, there's no, Vice President?
Yeah, there's been a few minutes to get some time before. I'm just going to looking for our voting to pass our budget with our raising will not have deficits going into the next fiscal year. Or we hope to start some adjustments for the upcoming year. As with the South Carolina Road Board, I collaborated with the commissioner. Now, if there's any information that you would like to consider as far as like dealing with your water store rates and adjustments and things like that, and what that stuff means for our community and how imperative it is, you know, to do things like that on occasions and things of that nature. Maybe you could just speak to that.
Oh,
Yes.
It's something in severe.
Well, he's just.
Okay. Well, looking at your rates, I mean, your rates are extremely low. You have some of the lower rates in the state of South Carolina, and a lot of issues you're gonna have is, you have to, for those of you that don't know, cities have to have audits every year. And if they're not up to date on audits, they can't get grant money. There's another, kicker in there. If your rates aren't up high enough where you can pay for upgrades, you can't get grant money. Your rates are so low that if you apply for a grant, I'm gonna say, first thing you need to go do is go on your rates. You're not charging enough, you're charging rates that are 20 years old. Everything that we get, has went up. All the parts, labor, what you got to pay to keep the personnel. Looking at your rates, this isn't something that happened overnight. You evidently hadn't went up on rates in a long time. And now, it's going to feel like a blunt to everybody. But what I'm looking at proposing, what I recommend, it would probably cost the average customer $10 or $11 a month more. And, you can pay me now or pay me later. At some point in time, you've got to get the rates up so that you can pay your bills, because, this is a business. And it hadn't been, there's been times it hadn't been ran quite like the business should be ran. You can't charge these cheap rates and keep up with what's going on. Everything you buy in the water industry is going up every day. When you're talking about, you're charging $2.30 for water. That's 1,000 gallons of water. It costs you that much to buy 120-ounce Coca-Cola at the grocery store. Now, we've got to get your rates back to where you can pay your bills and be productive and change out all the new rules and regulations that's coming down the pipe for the PFAS and the lead and copper. You got lines that have to be changed out. You're going to have the funding to do it. And you're not going to get the funding to do it. I mean, it's one thing if you're charging the rates and you still need the money, you can go to the state revolving fund and they'll help you out. But if you're not charging enough to start with, they're going to tell you, well, you're not charging your customers nothing. They're not paying for it. The state's not going to pay for your system. And your customers need to provide for your system. So what we're looking at, my personal recommendation would be $5 a thousand. It ended up costing the average customer, like I said, about $10 to $11 a month more, which is still ridiculously low. My area where I live at, I pay $20 membership fee. We get zero water for that. Then we pay $12 a thousand. 2,000 gallons of water where I live at costs you $44. And you're talking 2,000 gallons here, with the changes, would cost you about $23. I mean, you're almost half of the rate I've had looked at, which mine are on the high side, but yours is way on the low side. But and the same thing on your sewer. A lot of the public doesn't realize, they think towns have a lot of money. They don't. most towns are broke. They live in from month to month, paycheck to paycheck, and that's the way it is everywhere. It's not just here. But if you got the average person running lives, your light bill for water and sewer runs about 10, 12 grand a month, between 10 or $12,000 a month. I mean, you're talking $144,000 a year just for light bill. That doesn't include these employees got to read meters, got to work on the lines, got to work on pump stations. Those wastewater costs a lot more to treat than water. That's why your wastewater bill's a little higher. You got a biological waste plant that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you got to keep that bacteria alive. I try and talk to people like a fish aquarium. Fish aquarium, you got to put the right amount of food in there, and you got to put the right amount of oxygen in there to keep them happy or your fish alive. It's the same thing with bacteria in a waste plant. You got to have the right amount of oxygen in there, and the solids is what provides the food. It comes in there, keeps it alive. Without the motors running, it dies. Then you're in violation. Then you got to pay fines to the Department of Environmental Services. So there's so many, fees that the town has to pay in order for you to keep up with it. You're going to have to work on your rates. You're going to be sustainable, because at some point in time, if you don't get to where you're sustainable and you can't pay your bills, and then suddenly a private entity comes in, they are coming in for profit. And what you're proposing now, what I'm recommending to you now is nothing compared to what they're charging. They're coming in, remember, for profit. So those bills are going to go out the roof. And it ain't gonna be optional. They don't, the only thing will have vested here is for infrastructure. They don't know nobody, they won't be no mercy, you pay or it's all. I mean, that's the way it will be. So we need to get things, I also recommend that, you look at, the council, put in the ordinance that you're gonna go up a small percentage every year. If you go up a small percentage every year, people can handle that. But instead of having to come in here like we are today, if you would have been going up, for the last 20 years, 3%, you would have been beyond what you're even asking for now. And everybody could have swallowed that a little bit at a time. But right now, you got to swallow a little bit and then gradually keep it in. And then if you got it in the ordinance next year, what's your name? Capers. She knows it's in the ordinance. The only thing she's gonna do is build it in there. You're not gonna come in here and have to go through all this again when there's a new mayor and a new council. Because I can tell you, let's face it, a lot of people that's on mayor and council, they don't really understand what they're getting into. And, and I told, some of them earlier, people run on the basis of, I'm not gonna go up on the rates, I'm not gonna go up on the sewer rates, I'm not gonna go up on the water rates. Well, how are you not gonna go up on it if you haven't ever seen your budget? What are you gonna do? I mean, you can't say that, that's just negligence on someone's part to run on that and convince people of something that you don't even know what the numbers are. If you don't know what the bills are, I mean, I can't tell you I'm not gonna pay any more for my bill. My bill, if I don't pay any more, guess what? It's gonna get cut off. So we got to really understand, and I tell people all the time, the mayor, he told me he newly elected, sometimes you wonder if you won the election or you lost. When that phone starts ringing, you say, man, it might be a nice fellow with one that he put up in his desk. I mean, you put up with a lot for a little. You're doing community service, the amount of headache there is involved in giving on mayor and council. And I encourage you, we have a board training, and it will actually train you, and you can get in there and you can talk to other council members and mayors about, how we even run a meeting, the legal things you can do and you can't do. You can compare rates, you can compare a lot of things and get in there and they can educate you. And this is a round table, and we do it all around the state. You can go on our website and it shows you where we're going to get next. And it doesn't matter which one you go to first. You can go to the last one because it's not chain reactive of the one before. Each one is individual of itself. But get involved in that and understand, but when you're elected, you're elected to make decisions. And the people elected you, and sometimes they don't like your decision. But you're the one that's supposed to be more educated about what's going on than they are. Now, you've got to convey to them why you got to make that decision. And if they don't like it, they vote somebody else in, so be it. You got to do the right thing. And the right thing, a lot of times, sometimes, isn't the popular thing. The right thing will get you a lot of phone calls, and then you got to justify it and get them to understand it, and get them to come in here and sit down and really understand it. Go to the store and buy a Coca-Cola and honey bun, you spent $5. That's what you charge for 1,000 gallons of water. Now, when you put it in perspective, I mean, it's ridiculously cheap. 1,000 gallons of water versus what you can hold in one hand, Coca-Cola and a honey bun. And which one you want more? You want water all month, or you want that Coca-Cola and honey bun? Or let's make somebody get real mad. What about these cell phones? You'll pay $100 a month to them. You ain't gonna complain. They go up on the bill. You still won't keep that phone on. You cut that phone off without you jumping out of windows. I mean, so in reality, you got to have water and sewer. If you don't have water and sewer, you don't have a town. And the community's got to realize you got to pay power in order to keep things rolling, to keep productive. If the industry wants to come in, you got to have the rates right. You got to have infrastructure in place. Right now, you don't have the money to even work on your infrastructure to upgrade it. So, if economic development comes and needs something done, if you don't have that infrastructure in, industry can't come. I mean, if you got all this, old infrastructure, or you need new lines going out in a certain section, and you don't have the money, and then even if you want to go after grant money, they want to tell you, well, you need to go on your rates and get that straight, and then we'll consider, handing you some work with you on the grant. That's all I have.
We really appreciate you being that clear with what's really going on, because I think citizens, that's why we really wanted you all here today, so you could tell them that it's real that right now you can lose control of your water, and you're not going to laugh if someone else comes in and tell you what your rates will be, but you have no input, you have no citizens, that care enough to keep us in a safe place right now. And we're doing that at a risk still of possible other people wanting our voice. And I tell you, I said it today, I say, if people only knew how expensive it is to take care of what we have, as you went out today with us, to see some of our problems we're facing. We're facing monumental problems that we need to fix.
Right.
And we're not going to fix it in one little jump or one little, people find this as, okay, you're doing something horrible to us. We would not hurt one citizen. I don't think one of us who are elected set to hurt anybody. We want to keep control of what belongs to the town of Allendale. And if citizens knew the value of keeping your own, they would just say, hey, we want to protect our own, because we don't want a new company that's coming in for profit to tell us next month or a year from now, your water bills will be about $150 a month. Which will be, for them, it would be devastating. So you need to hear this kind of stuff. We're definitely, this is a budget hearing, but it's something that we want all the citizens to hear truth when it comes to what it takes and how you should manage your citizens. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. Because if you're going to lose, we got neighboring counties no longer have control of their water. And we've always shared, go ask ask them how it is when you can't get anybody to come to the house to flush, to do certain things, to check, to let you know what's on your side. What happens then? So, you know, and I know it's not gonna be overnight for everybody to understand, but they need to understand that Dominion's gonna go up again, and how many of us gonna be able to fight Dominion? And we wanted the public to be a part of this. And we wanted them to have some input right now at this year to talk about some of their concerns. So they can get a better understanding, not hearing it from us, but hearing from the experts who work with this every day.
Well, you're fortunate that you have your own water system, you own your own sewer system, you own it. A lot of towns have to rely on someone else. And when they decide they want to go up on rates, but they got you. They've got a monopoly on you then. I mean, they can charge you what they want. You're kind of, you know, captive by them. But, you know, you got a well system produces good water. And even at the rates you're talking about, you're still way cheaper than the majority of people that you're going to hear from.
We just, this is one of them, you know, when our citizens have knowledge of what's going on, we wanted them to hear what could possibly happen, not be blindsided by somebody decides that you're not financially to maintain that they are going to take control of our water. And then you will have no say in what your water rates are going to be. And, we're gonna go shortly after we conclude this meeting. And we'll be going into our regular meeting, and we're asking you to stay. So you all can, if there are any questions, and we need clarity about water and how fortunate we are to own our own, not have someone else telling us what the rate's gonna be.
We got 10 more minutes in our discussion.
The citizens are now here, and not miss it.
The ones that just came in, we are discussing the budget. This is a public hearing for the 25-26 budget. And we're in the discussion phase, if anybody.
About water, if there is any question about what your water usage and why we all. Was that meeting? Yes, it was advertised. It was advertised. That was budget hearing, yeah, it was advertised.
Well, I do have a question about, one of my questions is about water.
Yeah.
It seems like it's inevitable that the water rate is going to increase. My question is, will it be per gallons of water used by, or is it going to be a flat rate increase?
You're looking at, I'm in South Carolina Rural Water, and what we're discussing is, there's a minimum rate that you charge like for the first 1,000, but then after that, you're gonna charge per 1,000.
Per 1,000?
Yeah.
That's my question.
And even with the rates, they discussed, I mean, you're still way lower than the average city in South Carolina.
Do you know how much it'll be per 1,000?
What I'm recommending is $5 a thousand. Believe me, I know you may be shocked, but you're paying rates now that are 20 years old. I mean, the rates haven't been up in so long that, you know, when you say that, it sounds like a lot, but it is really cheaper than most places.
But for our economic area, that's expensive. The people that live in Allendale, that's quite expensive.
I mean, I'm all around one of them in the pocket.
I'm not sure.
I know.
Not everybody, but a lot of them have free, government, I have no way of knowing who's
Right.
for their.
But if you go to the store and you buy a $100 and a Coca-Cola, how much you gonna pay? you're gonna pay $5.00 in Coca-Cola. I mean, the town has got to get the rates up in order, I'm just saying that. Because they need grant money for infrastructure. And when you go to, and you apply for a grant for infrastructure money, and your rates are not where you're sustainable, they can't even give you grant money. So you got to be sustainable in order to get even eligible grant money. I mean, it sounds good when you got rates real cheap, but when you can't pay payroll and you can't pay your debt, you can't, I don't know, you might not understand. If the state looks at you and you don't have enough money to run your system and be sustainable, you're not eligible for grant money. They won't know, are you sustainable? There's several systems right now that aren't sustainable. And they're telling them, we can't give you grant money because you're not charging enough what you got to start with. And you got to pay, you need to pay, understand you got to pay a reasonable pay for it. What do you want to see?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
My question is, okay, I understand what you're saying, I understand economics, you got the increase, I understand all that. But let me say this, I know you mentioned everybody homes and so, how all the other, we got senior citizens, not able to stand another high rate before. Because what she said, we live in a low economic system.
Every system I go to, every system has the same problem. It's everywhere, it is, but here's what we got to understand, the senior citizens, it's gonna affect very little. Because how is that? They're the ones that's not using as much water. They don't use, a senior citizen will not, I mean, I've been in this 41 years, I know what I'm talking about. You go get a meter readings from an older person, they might use 1,000, 1,500 gallons a month. Another younger family, they're gonna use between 2,000 and 3,000, they're gonna use double.
I think it's different because many of our citizens are raising grandchildren. And they're the only adult in the house, they got 4 or 5 grandchildren.
Okay. I understand that the grandchildren in the house, but the average older person, if they got somebody grandchildren, somebody should be doing raising money.
Well, sir,
I mean, we're not in society, like,
you got some people who've been there a long time. Look at that, one check, one check, probably 80, might be 9, might be $9. You got people in here, and including myself, I get a few checks. But I'm in here to make fortune and that, brother, old people.
and now somebody else doing the same thing, and I commend you for that. But at the same time, the town cannot subsidize. The town have the money to subsidize, and that's what we are.
But they put this burden on the old people. You can't fit everybody else on that. They can afford to pay. I can afford to pay.
I know.
But what about these elderly people?
Well, most of them, even at that, if they raise it, they still pay the average person, you probably cost $10 a month. $10, $15 a month, 50 cents a day. I mean, well, the problem is, for 20 years, I've had the same low rates. Your rates been, they've been.
It's been the same, if not, if they were passed, just a sewer, and it never was implemented, it never was.
What do you do when the light bill goes up?
You make arrangements.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have to happen with water and sewer.
You
The
should have.
light bill, the gas bill, the groceries, one ribeye will cost you more than what you come out of month, you're gonna pay water and sewer. I understand, I mean, not being, here and speaking up, but somehow, the majority of the people, they're gonna have, they're gonna have, everybody have to pay a little more. But the majority of people like you, it's not like that. Somehow,
Just one question.
Yes, sir.
local preacher around here, but I run my mouth a lot. The question I want to talk about is, I heard a statement say the rate hadn't went up, but the rate hadn't been stable. The amount rate had went up, I had to come out here several times and get over these people our rate, $100, $150. Come on, man, and the rate hadn't went up. And constantly paying $8, $9 a month.
Yeah.
And the rate hadn't went up.
Well,
They went up on the majority, a lot of people went up.
well, there's some rate in there. You may use one more water. If you use more water.
I didn't use no more water, I had a leak, but I had no leak.
Well, see, here's the number one thing that happens, I get everywhere. Motors leak, they don't make it, motors don't leak. And I tell you, I've been doing 41 years, you go back that Lowe's and put a little Kool-Aid in it. And the next thing you know, it's showing that bowl, you ain't flushing, it's leaking. I mean, and lately I had a lady that I know, she's a personal friend of mine, just put in 2 brand new toilets. And blessed me out, and then I went in and improved her toilet. And she fixed it. And one thing you do every once in a while, everybody, you know, they open the back of your motor, and that little flapper, it'll get a little film roll. Just take your finger, some water in there, run it around and get it out of one little grain of rust or anything that's under there. That ain't gonna leak. I'm not running the leak now.
I just have another question.
Okay.
And this will be the last one, because our time is up.
Okay, the rates in Allendale, all the rates in Fairfax gonna go up as well. No, but, doesn't Fairfax pay us a certain amount for using, the wastewater treatment plant every month? So are their rates gonna go up?
Now, we discussed that, we recommended that also. I mean, yes, I mean,
So have they been notified that their rates are gonna go up as well?
well, they hadn't voted on anything yet, so.
Well, Oh, I have one more question. Can I do one more? I got one more question for Andy. Has any decision been made about how you're gonna collect the arrears that Fairfax owes? Or is that a question not for this part?
That's not.
Really, it's not for this part.
But has it been discussed?
Oh,
Or are we
yes.
gonna let the courts decide?
Oh, yes. We are getting ready to meet with Fairfax.
Mayor, he's saying.
Finish with that. Sorry. Okay. Okay, we coming out of, look at the motion.
Make a motion that we come out of public hearing, that we start the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, the motion proper second that we close the public hearing for 2025-26 budget. Are you ready to vote? Approval by show of hands. Disapproval, same sign. Got the adjournment. There's another motion.
No, we can go right on into the meeting.
It's 6 p.m.
Do we have to go through all the formalities again, because we did that for the public hearing?
Separate meetings, separate end boards.
Yes. Call to order the Town of Allendale regular monthly council meeting agenda. Tuesday, June the 10th, 2025, 6 p.m. Roll call.
Yes. Yes, that's right.
Okay. It's there.
I'll call it.
Okay, wait.
Mayor Carter,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tim,
Here,
Mr. Marlon Preach,
Here.
Mr. Randy Preach. Yeah. Ms. Lee Harley Pitts. Ms. Hattie Jackson,
Present.
or Ms. President.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda is implication and pledge of allegiance. That's it.
most holy, and thou art, who's the head of all of our lives. Lord, we are gathered here to do the business for the citizens of Allendale. And God, we want you to be in the midst of our decision making. And letting people know that you are in charge and your will be done, but it's for to protect and save our people right in your own community. And Lord, we ask you to just bless us as we make the best decision that will help our citizens to maintain what is rightfully Allende's. And I ask you, Lord, just to cover all of us, cover everyone in this house this evening. And Lord, let us make the best decisions that we best can for the town of Allendale in your righteous name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve tonight's agenda.
Okay, it's been motion and properly second that we approve the agenda for tonight. Are you ready to vote? Show of hands for approval. Disapproval, same sign. Agenda is approved. Okay. We need to approval for the minutes from March the 5th budget meeting minutes. May budget meeting minutes and May 13th regular monthly meeting minutes, May 19th budget workshop meeting minutes, and May the 28th special call meeting minutes.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion that we table these minutes until the July 8th, 2025 council meeting, as we're just really getting these minutes good. That would allow everybody to have proper time to review.
Okay, it's a motion properly second that we make up, table these whole meetings until the next meeting. Are we ready to vote? Show of hands for approval. Disapproval, same sign. Yeah. Right, next is public comments. Yeah. Right. And first up is Johnson.
Questions with comment. One of the answers that I received from the last questions I asked, I am in total disagreement with. But being that as me, my first question has been assessed. My second question is, and I didn't get a chance to answer that, is what will the money generated by the rate increase be used for? My third question is, are there any plans or proposals being discussed for raising revenue for the town so that sanitation fees and taxes are not increased, since we're receiving no new services in the town? My fourth question is, will the person chosen to be chief of police and future officers hired by the department be required to reside within the town limits or at least within the county? Because our last chief lived in Aiken. When things happen in Allendale, that's a long way to have to ride. My fifth question is, what is the deadline for accepting and reviewing applications for town administrators? We've been without a town administrator for a long time. My sixth question is, since we haven't had a town administrator or a police chief for quite some time, Do we have surplus monies in those departments? Number 7, is there a projected start date to begin renovations to the community center on Platt Street, since monies were allocated ever since 2020 and 2021 in the fiscal year's budget? My 8th question is, why is it that citizens have to stand and wait out on the sidewalk while the council is in executive session, instead of the council moving to the council's chamber in the back? Some of us would like to stay for executive session, but I'm not standing out on the sidewalk. Those are my questions, and I wrote them down so that I can receive an answer to each one. I appreciate your time.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your question, Ms. Johnson. And you know, we will get back to you within 1 to 5 days. Okay, next person up, Nate Harley. Hartley.
Good evening, Mayor and Council,
Good evening.
and citizens. I'm here to talk about the Allendale Community Action Group. And that might be a new term to all of you, but it's not new to the council. The council is aware of it. There's a group higher than council and the community action group called Action Strategies, who has a subsidiary called Downtown Strategies that are working with Allendale Town Council as well as the Allendale Community Action Group to develop or redevelop the 125 corridor. The 125 corridor has been an eyesore and an issue for us for quite some time. And in 2016, we were trying to make an effort to revamp it, and it went nowhere. But last year in August, Downtown Strategies came through, and the poster that was floating around town in 2016 was actually presented, and statement was made to them, to the people of the Downtown Strategy, that you could use a little, or you could use a lot, or you could use none of it all, but there's no sense in being in. Well, when they saw it, they got real happy and they took the whole thing, and they put it into a 5-year action plan. That 5-year action plan starts out with the town of Allendale taking baby steps to make things happen on 125. And what has happened so far, there's been a number of meetings with the mayor, a couple of the council members, and the community action group. When I say community action group, I'm talking about myself as chair, Ms. Ann Rice, Ms. Sarah Manning, Lottie Lewis, Ms. Jim Frazier, and those are the members of the community action group. We met last night to discuss the things that we have put in place so far out of an item list that was created last month in the meeting. And some of those things are on the 125 corridor in front of the stores there. You will begin to see the beautification committee is going to take charge of the palm trees along the palmetto trees along that street there, and they're going to clean them up and they're going to make them look right. They're going to take down all of the vines. Once we have access to plywood, we're going to take out all of that old particle board. New plywood will be put up, and with the plywood in place, it will be measured, it will be put in properly. I spoke with one of the hardware merchants to see if I could acquire, if he would let us have black paint to paint over it initially, and he has agreed that he would work something out with us. So we have that going for us, as well as the fact that we have some people that come in and paint murals on those, on the blackboard once all that is in place. Also, I have spoken with a couple of the merchants that are on either end, and one of them is willing to work with us, the other one I'm working. But the thing that I want everybody to hear is that everything that happens in Allendale is important. There are some good things that are coming out of Allendale, and we are working out on them. We ask that you keep an eye on the 125 corridor and look for the baby steps. Not going to be anything huge, it's a 5-year plan. We have this first year, if I don't know if you paid any attention, but during spring cleanup, you may have seen the mayor working on a palmetto tree across the street from those buildings, getting it cleaned up. So we are doing things to make our 125 corridor look better. And we ask anybody that want to volunteer to help us to make things better. We are open. We will be meeting on June 30th at 5 o'clock at Emma's house. And I'm just about done. And we will, anyone that would like to come, if nothing else, but hear what progress we're making and what our next steps are, we're more than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy. Okay, next up is Sarah Dean.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Sarah Bain. As a rural business developer and owner of a small minority-owned female business in Allendale and South Carolina, to bring your immediate attention a critical issue that is severely impacting our ability to operate and maintain my investment in our town. The rows of properties adjacent to the business on 229 Augusta Highway, Unit A and B. The current condition of town-owned properties characterized by extreme overgrowth, bliss and visible signs of termite infestation pose a direct and significant threat to my business. My insurance provider has threatened to cancel my policy to the documentation. It is financially unsuitable for me to maintain my property to the required standard if the town of Allendale is not doing its part to address the risk of its own adjacent property. So I have some suggestions of resolutions. It should be immediate remediation. The town should take immediate steps to clear the overgrowth, address the termite infestation, and secure the abandoned property to mediate further damage and risk to neighboring businesses. Property sale. I strongly recommend that the town consider selling these neglected properties. This will not only alleviate the burden of maintenance on the town, but also open opportunities for responsible development that could benefit the entire community. And I have some, also have some pictures I took of the properties that has, and it needs immediate attention. And I'll leave it here with the town. All the pictures, and also have a note letter. So that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Bain. And we will get back with you in 1 to 5 days.
Sorry,
I said, we'll be back with you in 1 to 5 days.
we'll be back.
This may be writing.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Ann Rice.
Good afternoon, Council.
Good afternoon.
First of all, I'd like to, I mentioned this to y'all one other time, but you have a historical marker act is complete. And, Allendale County Historical Society will clean these markers and replan for $100. So I'm gonna give y'all this posted to consider, because it's really a nice thing to have, and you need that, it's nice. The second thing is part of the 125 renovation, and part of the South Carolina 250 committee to recognize the Revolutionary War. Since we did not do anything for the 4th of July in Allendale, we have ordered flags to go on some of the poles in Allendale. I just want permission to put them up, particularly on 125 and on Main Street, not where the town flags are, where there are no flags or old flags. Some permission to put those up. And there will be a Revolutionary War kind of celebrating our liberty, is what there'll be. So there'll be something that's in keeping with 4th of July, that sort of things.
Okay.
And so I'm asking permission to do that. And we would like to get them up next week. We're working there on Tuesday, if possible. The third thing is the town of Allendale has gotten so far behind in cleaning up debris that it is really embarrassing to ride anywhere in Allendale. And when you have commerce coming here the week of the 23rd to look at things, I mean, it needs to be cleaned up before they come. It looks horrible. And I would suggest Fairfax has leased some equipment so they're able to clean up for their citizens. And I suggest that Allendale either borrow equipment from the county or the town of Fairfax, or either lease some equipment since we have equipment problems. Because I mean, it's really embarrassing for all of us to see all these bunches of things. Now I know I have a big problem. Mine's on side streets, so it's not that important. But other people are on main places, and the limbs on 278 and 125, you know, they fall down trees and just sit there. So that kind of thing needs to be cleaned up. And if we're gonna make a good impression, we got to clean these things up. So I ask that you seriously consider this. I know money's tight, but like Ms. Johnson says, you should have some surplus for not having a chief of police and administrator sometime. So you should be able to afford to do something like this. But I mean, we pay our taxes and we need to have it cleaned up. It looks terrible. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rice. Mr. Willie Morgan, Sir Cap.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Council members. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I just wanted to apologize for being a little tardy there and getting here. I didn't get that message that we all were having a public hearing at 5:30. I should say. Been here for that, but I am standing here this evening really to support the effort of the town to adjust its rates in order to address some of the compliance issues to maintain the water and wastewater system. I know it's something that, you know, as individuals who use the service is not interested in having adjustments, but it is something that is needed. When you turn the faucet on, you want good clean water. When you flush, you want the sewer to be the property, and you want it to not create a neighborhood nuisance as well. I would encourage, as I try to share with the town and hopefully the town involved, is to try to generate a list perhaps that can be useful, like something perhaps that really struggling, some of the social programs that are available to assist with any needs that may be out there to pay their bills. That has been thoughtful in other communities across the state, really across the country in terms of helping individuals that may be struggling. And we have that all across the country. So those are the types of things that can be done to try to help citizens pay the bills. But the community, if they're interested in continuing to control their water and wastewater system, having maintaining that system properly, such as enact any type of enforcement action, having rate adjustments continue, the effort that has been put forward to seek out grants, from various organizations, federal government, state government, or private organizations to help, offset some of the capital improvement costs that are necessary to maintain the system, both water and sewer. And our organization is able to kind of assist with some of that, what we try to do in the past as well. And we do appreciate Allendale's effort to try to some of its costs from the other users of the system, not just the town constituents, but also town Fairfax and those that are part of that waste stream that feeds into the town Fairfax that ends up at Allendale's wastewater treatment plant. But we definitely support the effort. This is not a huge increase, but I do understand the impact that it may have on the customers. Having that visit at the office, you can't help for some of that. So thank you.
Mr. Morgan? Okay, next up, Pat King.
Good afternoon, Tom.
Good afternoon.
I'm here pleading for help. Because my area is constantly under attack. Always through the lines of your area. You never hear me talk. So some of the questions I'm asking, first I knew y'all discussed the water rate. That was a little to a lot of the citizens. I just want to know why is this possible and how much and what's the private citizen going to prepare. And what are we going to do about the crime? The second question was what are we going to do about the crime in Allen County? And the third question, I understand you got a security system, but is it working properly or you have to run it to make sure it's working properly? The reason why I say that is a very bad incident, one of our systems. We called the police, nobody came. Nobody never came, that was respond. So we took it upon ourselves to call the sheriff. But he was off duty, he took his time and came and he was the situation. So at a time like this, I understand, I don't know how it goes, but because we do not have any policemen in Allendale, I don't know how many we have. This is the time that you all need to work together and say, Sheriff Department, we need your help right now until we get a full staff. So you are leaving us in the whip, like you all don't care. I mean, they used to be patrolling all in the area. What's it about now? So these young people got a right to do whatever. So what are you doing? Some of y'all don't stay in this area, but I don't even think about it. Day in and day out. Other day, I was getting ready for work. Civic called me on my back today. I get ready to work. How many bullets I heard? But 3. And you see, so that's what I'm saying. You need to let this people go. I mean, I know towns always have an issue, but this is a time when you ought to say, well, Sheriff, I need you right now. Until I get my staff in check, I need to control my city, control my town, until I get my staff in check. This ego need to go out the back door. It's all about us. You are the living to think of it. I see to think of it every day. And we not like that. We always subsidiary with everybody wants to stay in that area. But I don't think they want to stay there. And that's I got that. But that was the police about it. And I'm saying about work together with the sheriff. I don't know what the fun is though. But what about that? That's what we're paying all the taxes for. We pay all the taxes for what? We don't have no competition. In the first they say, ain't nobody gonna go out for us. What to do? Because you all give them to do it. You give them a chance to do it. So it's time to work together. And I know these candidates, they should have been here tonight, but they not here. So that's not showing that they ain't doing that. So we all put
community, keep it safe. So I'm saying, planning for the town council, everybody got together. Y'all get everything in check. I don't know how you're gonna do it. This place should be cool. Well, I'm calling on Facebook. You can trust me. So this place should be cool. They got talk about that or social media. Every time put up, shut up. Nobody here. Probably nobody here. So I'm pleading for the town council, everybody. Get together and just create this power. Because I'm tired of living like that. You got old people can't go like this. And then you can tell us to like this. They retired and did all this time you consider they put to rest. But I don't think some of y'all might not say anything of it, but trust and believe, I'm in the thick of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King, and we will get back to you when the 5 days.
Okay. Can I ask one question? It's just a question. Some of the cities that come here, can they have just a few of their answers, their questions asked? That's just my question. The citizens came here and they're concerned, I tell her being, some of the citizens have some of their questions answered.
We will answer. We'll get back to them in writing. We will. Okay. Let's some comment for tonight. Okay, next on the agenda is old business. We have the second reading of the water rate increase. We have the second reading of the FY 2025-26 budget. And a grant for parks update.
I make a motion that we accept the second reading of the water rate.
Okay, get that done. Motion from the second. This is the second reading of the water rate increase. We prepare to vote. Okay.
Water increase. If we do all these as a council, as far as going certain or certain times or certain apartment complexes, or therefore we don't have to raise the water. My thing is, I look at some of the citizens that are on fixed incomes, as I've always looked at things on fixed income. Even don't mean that they don't have a problem with it. You know, it's going to be poor. So why are we complaining if they got to come and step in here? My thing is, what else do we expect to have? I ain't going to be good. They don't fix it, and they'll put you into the middle of all that is. They already covered other issues in our time as far as needing police cameras, needing to have more police presence. They're running about the bullets on the ground, and then still give them a one increase. Me, I just gotta get off my chest, and I just don't feel like it's right. Of course, we go to the council. Of course, we all have one vote. My vote is still the same to not increase the water rate. I just felt like I just need to get it on my chest. Okay. I agree with Mr. Creech. Citizens that I've spoken with, they don't understand what's going on. There's some things, yes, we cannot discuss, but when we're citizens, we don't know, as far as the citizens are concerned, Mayor, we don't know what's going to be happening in the next 6 months. We're going, they're going through a whole lot. Just because I can afford it, don't mean the next man can afford it. That's right. I think, in my view, as talking to the citizens, I think that they are opposed to this. We need to try other avenues.
My suggestion is that we table this for at least another month, so we can come up with other ideas to try to work and get this done properly. Like I said, I speak with the citizens. And I'm not saying my colleagues don't, but a lot of them are not happy. They're not told about this. This has not been broadcast. It's kind of blindsiding them. But again, as long as we state it, we have to, we'll see what happens with this. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. So, we're back to the motion been made.
But I think citizens who are not here for the hearing should really get a clear understanding of what could possibly happen if you don't do what you need to do. If you're council, I'd like to hear from people who specialize in what's going on. You share some of the stuff that was missed. Do it together, you can expand it or turn that okay.
Yes.
Mayor, as well as given on the phone.
If you can
Okay.
summarize it, I guess.
Yeah, summarize.
Summarize.
Okay, well, I guess that some people may not understand water and sewer. The rest of the system.
Excuse me, sir. Could you introduce yourself and who you are?
Okay. I'm water certification. You look at the taxes and water and sewer and stuff. The taxes has nothing to do with water and sewer system. The water and sewer system has carry itself. And if it can't carry itself, and I think we may be the situation here now, if sometimes you probably have to drive people to take off. But you got to prove out your work on, every day on the water and sewer system. You got a contract, you're going to pay to come here and run the water and sewer system. You got a lot of bills, on all these pump stations. All this money, it has to be self-sustaining. And I understand, and it's everything. Every town has a certain amount of people that struggle with bills. And as Mr. Willis said, there are programs out there that can help those few. But overall, the problem has been that you haven't went up on the rates over years. And now you're at the point where you've got to go up on the rates in order to be sustainable. Or like I said earlier, if you're not sustainable, you can't get grant money to improve your system to get more industry in. You've got fees on water, you got fees on your sewer system, you got all these fees you got to pay every year, and it's not optional. And if you're not in compliance, you don't have to do your system, you're in violation, not paying the levy copper rule. This is an old town, a lot of old lines, I've had a lot of levy copper, galvanized lines, and have to come out of the ground. Well, somebody's gonna pay for that. And if you don't have your rates where you're sustainable for the next days and days, you need to raise your rates so we can take care of it. But you can't keep going on and you got the same rates you had 20 years ago. You can't sustain that. And I understand people don't want to raise up. I tell you what, y'all have pretty fancy cars and how much debate in here when they vote on the raise. I mean, and I know what you're saying. They don't. A couple of years ago, we were paying for all a gallon of gas. Today, we're not. But we didn't have an option. We had to make arrangements and get through it. And this is just another obstacle. And the majority of people, can afford it. I know, I appreciate you guys coming and you're sticking up with the ones that can. But, there's going to have to be some programs or, and I'm a big believer that, the church has got to step in. I don't believe the government should be stepping in and starting in a lot of places. They should be stepping in. And God really put it in there for the church to look out and help people. And that's what you do. And that's what we need to do. And we need to find, alternative methods. But I just now want to look at all the rates. And you've got a declining rate the more water you use. And for small citizens, small families, you can't afford to do that. I mean, you need a flat rate across the board. And, you know, however much, it seems like most people not gonna get a bunch for. But your industrial range, you're going down, and you're going more, you know, you're going down a little quick. And you need to get it up, you know. Usually 30,000 gallons is the limit where you start going down. But industrial rates, not 5,000 to 6,000. These people are making a good living now, they're really making. The guys that work on the crews here, I go to a lot of towns, and the guys that are on the crew are having to work 2 jobs. Towns are notorious for not being able to pay their employees decent salaries. So that's where this comes from. The money that their salaries has to come out of your water and sewer fund. Water and sewer fund is separate from the general fund. They're not the same. The general fund can charge a franchise fee to the water and sewer fund and take out 5% and you go into the general fund. They can charge them a franchise fee just like they can Dominion Energy. I don't know if y'all do that or not. You probably don't, because the money's the tax probably swap it back before we make it meet surgery. But anyway, you got to get the salaries up to where you got good quality employees so you have less problems. And everybody said, well, we're not competing anything. So everything, you compete with everybody that writes a check. And that one deal over there is going to pay this guy $3 more. This guy can go the extra job to the town. I'm sorry, he's going to get us leave. And you got to be competitive with salaries. And to be competitive, you got to have the funds to do it. Appreciate y'all listening to speak. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. So what?
I just said, if we do everything, I understand everything Kirk said, so my thing is, I think raising the water rate should be the last option. My thing is, if we got this department, that 61 units, and we charge them $75, early, we get $40 a month. Overtime, 30 units, we can easily charge. What I'm saying is, we did nothing for the apartments, so if we did everything we supposed to do as a town, we can at least have that alongside their place. That we can do buildings, and then we can go and pay out. We wait on those figures ever since December. So when we put that package together, when I say, hey, I think we're going back, that's what I'm saying. We need a real live figure of all of what we are doing also. And then that way I can feel comfortable that we did everything that we need to do as a town council before we put it on our system. That's all I'm saying, sir. I understand we're waiting for everything at some point in time. And I'm expressing resident industry on rates. Because of course for a long time they didn't get before. It does not work that way. My thing is let's do everything we can as a body, a government body, before we put it on the citizens out there, because the citizens out there getting the water rates and for a very long time, even when the you didn't know what apartment complex. It's not a citizen out there problem. It's a town conservation for which a lot of things we just got down. Got this where I'm at. But again, I'm not gonna do it fast. Let's do our due diligence, and then as you see everything mapped out, organized, and everything that people are looking at and in the apartments, then we tell people what we are collecting on a consistent basis, then we can decide whether or not we need to report it. Then until we do that, my position is still saying, I will not report it. We don't go again. Do it, I don't know.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Beach. All right. It has already been motion and second. Now, we vote. Show of hands for approval. Says disapproval. Disapproval. This second reading. Next on the agenda is the second reading for the FY 2025-2026 budget. Okay, it's been motion and properly second that we approve the second reading for the FY 2025-2026 budget. Come to a question.
Yes, sir, one question.
All right, sir.
Does this also, with this budget, is it 10% or the increase? It's constant. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. It's a motion properly second. Are we prepared to vote? I see a show of hands for approval. Same for disapproval. So, next up is the Winter Park update.
I've got some information on that this week. Let's see, this comes from Judy Brown, who is the client advocate for Lakeside and Recreation. She's our, liaison between the folks at Lakeside Recreation and us. She said she received the dates from the vendor regarding the splash pad equipment and wanted to give me a quick update. The pre-shipment materials were shipped out the week of July 14th, and the remainder of the splash pad equipment was shipped the week of August 18th. So we got that to look forward to, and she said she would keep me updated and connected with the project manager as we move closer to July. The playground equipment from Winter Park will ship July 23rd. And again, as we get closer to July, she's going to keep me connected with the project manager and anyone else that we need to get in touch with. So that's the update on Winter Park goings on. That's all I have.
Okay, we have to vote now.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yes, ma'am.
Since we have some residents here who've not been, regular attendees of the meetings, would you care to just briefly touch on what the Winter Park project is?
The Winter Park project is to understand our children, especially our young children, that are not having a place to go play and really be like other neighboring towns who have Forest Park. So we were in negotiations with the county to utilize Winter Park, which is a county-owned park. It belongs to the county. And after doing so, we were able to get funding needed to put a splash pad and water park out there. So it would be the new Winter. We didn't change the name. It would be a water park, something similar to what you might see in Barnwell. As you go, you see their children out playing on the pads and the same thing in Orangeburg. But we will now have one located in the town of Allendale. And the plan is hopefully, as there are always issues with the late in getting equipment because of the system, a lot of equipment is hard to come by. But the hope is that we should be doing a soft groundbreaking, so we'll be moving forward in the month of July. But that's coming. I had in our previous meeting, we had pictures of it, so everybody can see that that is coming. It's been funded and we're moving forward.
Okay. That's a quick. About the park. Next on the agenda is new business. And our first is Mr. Danny Black. Southern Carolina Lines.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Jackson's going to follow because she knows how much I want to talk and bring out my God, so lose my voice and I should move on. And she's just going.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, this is Dave, I'll be honest. We sat in here in county council meetings and various people from the towns and counties. Right 4 years ago now, came up with a list of things the Department of Commerce at Allendale, Arnold, Amber, Hampton, Jasper needed to look at, change, and upgrade some things in their town. We formed a committee, I think, Ms. Fitz, and I don't remember, Mr. Hay, you were there in it, but we had a community, meeting get together, and we looked at several things, and this was y'all's, list of things you wanted us to say, look at. Create a new image for Alabama. Have a forensic audit for the county, look at all the county, issues and handle money. Address the train the workforce, infrastructure upgrade needs, water, sewer, broadband, roads, improved education, K through 12, and technical training. Cooperation among the cities and the county, working together, attract retail business, consolidation of services is what I'm going to address tonight. The consolidation of school, infrastructure, and especially law to reduce crime. We worked on law enforcement for 8 months, trying to get the towns and the county to look at consolidation, saving money, and also upgrading the law enforcement opportunities that you had to compete, and then also putting it under one organization. You know where that went? Nowhere. And now, I hear tonight, 4 years later, with us in the and at the time, Sheriff, you were very instrumental in trying to get that going. We do appreciate that. We think tonight, I'm here to talk about infrastructure, because that was another item that we came to. This is timely. I didn't know the association was going to be here. But about 9 months ago, we were given, we came for us in Allendale County, $250,000 grant to come in and hire engineering firms, go around and evaluate every town, every county, every provider of services for water and sewer. They're 9 months into it now. And you know which town is not being cooperative? Here. We got Fairfax, we got county's information, we do not have town at all. The intention was to find out all the details, the flow charts, the capacities, volumes, stuff. Look at each one, bring out the things that need to be repaired and fixed and so forth. Talk to your accounting people to tell us where you charge in the right rates, would it cover maintenance, would it cover new installation need to be done. But we got it from Fairfax, and I'm okay, they're not up to date on their audit. And you know the county's not up to date on their audit, so we're trying to reinvent the amounts of money that's been spent, should be spent, will be spent, trying to upgrade the system. The word consolidation, I know you may hate it, but you think of your county is 7,000 people. That's a small town. And you talk about the rates for the citizens. If you don't have enough citizens, you ain't paying rates. And if you are paying higher rates, obviously it's going to be spread out among the population that you do have. So the intention was to try to get a better, not perfect, but get a more efficient system in and get grants and aids to help. We had a $2 million grant law. Guess where that? They went away because you didn't consult. So we didn't have the opportunity to get anything done. This is an opportunity time to do this. Y'all voting tonight and waiting for raising rates here. Fairfax is going to raise rates. They got 4 pump stations that have $500,000 pieces got to be fixed. You got lines. We got to run 2 lines out of Walk Road. Nobody's even talked about having to pay for that. That's $2 million, $2.5 million to get water and sewer to an industry we bring it in. That's going to be announced very shortly. And I'm promising we're going to get water and sewer from Fairfax out. I don't know where I'm going to get $2 million from. Maybe coming to you. But somehow we got to get industry in here. And if you don't have water and sewer infrastructure, you ain't going to get industry. And if we don't have population, we ain't going to get industry. And someone mentioned, I believe he brought up extremely important. We cover you. I talk to people all the time, because they don't think much of us up here, and that's fine. We got our problems about getting too, so we can talk about them tonight. People that come from Macon going hill pit, come down through barn around the splash pad you were talking about, that past that splash pad, they come all right, come down through Allendale at 125 is what they see. And 125 needs to be upgraded. We talked about it 4 years ago in front of the university, and then 125, that's where the most population comes through the area. We are doing our part. Somebody said on social media, and I hate social media. Somebody said, you can put a new friends down at old friends building down here, y'all down there measuring the door knots. That's gonna be a premier regional employee training center, very short. We got $2 million to upgrade the engineers in there today, guiding 9 different companies around to get us bids on upgrading that building. We can be training welders, electricians, nuclear workers, and people that can handle these jobs at a higher rate of pay. We will train them now. Now we'll train the Barnard, we'll train them at Hardyville, we'll train them Walford too, but this is going to be the regional center too. I need a training, I'm telling you. I'm good at bringing business. We got to find somebody coordinate the training to make sure we get done and work all the training opportunities we have in that facility in our area. But you only got 7,000 people now. We only got a little 30,000 people in our forecast. Where are we? We got to get people in here, we got to get businesses in here, and you got to have housing. We got a place right now to build housing, just off people looking at apartments. But you still got to buy water, sewer, you still got to pay the second highest tax rates in the state. So we got a lot of things to attack. One thing we can help you with, I hope you will consider, is get that information to the engineers, let them come up with a plan. At the worst case scenario, if it's not a recommendation of consolidation, and remember, consolidation takes that out of the counties and others, county too, to the cities and counties hands and puts it under a board of directors that has some ability to run this. Now, y'all may not want it. You get what you get, but at least you get the information out of the study to tell you what you need to do in your water and sewer system. And there, I agree with the association. You can't get away without raising rates. I mean, you can't run it now. You can't fix what problems you have. So you got to look income in some other ways, and that's the only way to try to do this. But what is the best way of doing this to make this county work? We're the smallest, and this is my second country. This is the smallest county in the state. It used to be one of the most powerful counties in the state. When you got 7,000 people, when I was down there going to school and working and everything else, we had nearly 14,000 people. That's a 50% drop. And I hate to say it, a lot of us in this room are as old as I am. Some of us think we'll be around in another 4, 5, 6 years. We got to get young people. I say here, look at Martin. If you ain't in a leadership position, and more people your age in a leadership position, you're going to die. And you know the state sooner or later is going to come in here. And it's not just Allendale. We got 4 counties right here all in the same boat. Somebody's going to decide at a higher level than we are to fix. And to fix things is consolidation of schools and consolidation of counties is going to be next. So, but I'd love to answer your questions because I know these 2 ladies have questions because they've asked them 100 already. About the study, I hope that you will take this seriously, get this study done. That will help you in your decision of whatever you do on the water rights that you have today and what you're going to do to fix what you have. So with that, I'll be glad to answer your questions.
I have a question, sir. You answered one of my questions in which you stated that wastewater, which is our money maker. We don't know if the water is money maker. Wastewater costs same different towns.
well, I understand why our wastewater is not making as much as it's supposed to. It could be with proper adjustments, in which, municipalities do what they're supposed to do. But to hear that our wastewater uh, treatment plant or facility could be possibly stripped away from us, when we own it, um, to me, I can accept that.
Well, it would be stripped away from it, you would give it up if you came to the decision of consolidation.
Which would have to be a vote or a referendum.
Oh, absolutely, yes, it became offer to come in for somebody to study what the rates would be, how you would consolidate it, and all of you would have to agree. If you didn't agree, you show it.
And I understand, sir, what it is that I understand our problem. Well, what it is, we're giving up the biggest thing, from what you suggested, giving up the biggest money maker that can bring Allendale pretty much back. If we were to basically get ourselves back in proper standards of making sure that we receive the proper funding from our wastewater and water, then we would basically be able to get ourselves back functioning properly. Now, when it comes down to our sensors, some people leave for whatever reason. There are a lot of people that say they would love to come back. To me, I think that, and I hate to say this, I think that, this is pretty much, timely as well, as far as trying to bring up consolidation. I mean, in my take, this could be orchestrated in some way, because we have a police department. We have a police department, but we have to get police officers. We have the university. All we have to do is implement our university, in where our university, in my view, could wind up being a full-time university. Talking actually been here since the 60s. There is a map that we have, but getting together to get the proper people to get in line to get it together seems to be our biggest problem. We are our own worst enemy.
I agree. Totally agree.
But in my view, what you're trying to address, that the only way that we can bring industry here, which I tend to not agree with, is to base, and I understand that you're Southern Carolina line. You're the key person that can bring people here. But sir, I'm hearing studies from Southern Carolina Alliance. Well, when are these studies going to stop and action winds up being brought here?
We have to bring in industry here. What I'm saying is you're at a point where water, sewer, infrastructure needs to be addressed. Y'all said it, I didn't. 4 years ago, these were the elected officials, 2 of them still here. That were sitting in these seats and they were interviewed by the Department of Commerce, who said, we'll come back this month and talk to you again. Those are the things that you brought up, the citizens brought up. I didn't. But I'm telling you, in 30 years, we've had 5,000 jobs announced since COVID. And some of those are now. We don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the population, we don't have the skilled workforce that we need. We're trying to address that. We need to help address it. And we don't control your water, so it doesn't matter to me at this point. I'm just telling you. The study tells you what needs to be done. I have no idea what the association was here tonight. Didn't know they were coming. It would have been helpful to know that, because the water study and sewer study could have been trying to tie in with whatever y'all say now. I apologize, I don't know what you said tonight, here. But at least the information is paid for, you don't have to pay for it, it's going to tell you what you need to do to fix.
Okay, another question. You know that our county is primarily with forestry and
Yes, this whole region.
yes, well, pretty much Allendale. It's pretty much 90-10, if not less than that, probably 93-8 on the 7. Because the outside places of Martin, St. Martin,
you can't really count them as being town. They call themselves town, but really not town. They're pretty much. You're telling me that the only way that basically we'll be able to get industry here is to primarily give up our waste for.
I didn't say that. I'm saying you need to find a more efficient way of operating your system.
Yeah,
Consolidation is one way to do it. You can take a study and address all the issues that are pointed out by the association, so you rates are very, and they're extremely, your taxes are extremely high. Those are the things that you have to address to be competitive. And we can't sell a company on certain items that we have, population wise. We don't have still workers here. Our school system is rated extremely low, as you know. Our infrastructure is rated extremely low.
and I understand that, sir, but basically that is a hope and wish itself. You can't guarantee business coming in. If, for example, if we were, let's just say we come to that agreement of consolidation, and primarily our water and waste. Business don't come, let's just say they don't come. Maybe one, then Allendale itself is at a loss.
And go back to the young lady over here talking about the rates. And I'm not an expert, I'll defer to the experts. If you have a bigger system that's more efficiently run, you're gonna attract more residents, you're gonna be able to provide more industrial growth.
I understand that, sir, but you
still got
but that consolidation group will be controlling how much they be able to sit. Okay, so let's just, all right, they vote, well, the council voted tonight, then do a $10 increase, right?
I don't know.
Well, it was a $10 increase. Let's just say, we agree to this. We say, well, we own this now. We can do 25, 30, and 50.
You could.
Exactly.
You could.
No. I'm talking about consolidation.
No. The consolidation has people from each one of the providers that's turning over their systems and system level. So you could be sitting on that board setting.
But the vote has to vote on that, right?
Of course, you do too.
Okay, so basically, it's come back to what I just finished this case. If I get outvoted, guess what? It could be increased even more.
You got outvoted tonight.
Yes, sir, I sure did. But it's better for a possibility of a $10 rate than to get up with a consolidation group led by someone that probably don't care about the town and it wind up being 25 or 50.
You would have, I would suspect, and I'm not an expert, but I would suspect county would have appointees to the board. The towns would have appointees because you got to turn your system over to put it in a consolidated system. And oh, by the way, the town is the most consolidated system that have done that. Yet in paycheck for their use of their lights, et cetera, they get some kind of payback that's above and beyond the efficiency expenses.
With all that being right, sir?
I'm sorry.
With all that being right?
I don't think so, yeah. Y'all have to make a decision, I think. I mean, you gotta look at the figures and see which is the best system that you're gonna look at. But I do implore you, let's get this study done so at least you know what you need. And that can help you set rates and go after grants. But I can tell you, again, I'm not asking the association company, but a new authority or a new system can go after grants a lot better than you can do. And you know what the association right now says about town. It's not just Allendale. We got the same problem. Y'all read about Denmark for years. And we finally get them to a point where they got a new water system and we got to replace their entire sewer system. We can't bring an industry in Denmark because we don't have enough sewer tax. And that's a shame. We all ought to be able to accept whatever it is. But we got look, 4 years we tried to address this things with your county and town leaders. And I hate to say this, a lot of them have moved on that were involved in You got all young people coming in. We're gone. A few years, all these old people out of here, it's gonna be left up to you.
Yeah, sir, sir, more, I understand your point, but my thing is that we here, we're supposed to be doing what's best for the citizens. And my final statement, me personally, I would not go for consolidation based upon those.
And it may not be the right solution. What you need to know is what the study says and facts. They may come back and say it's not good. We don't know that because we don't have all the information. But if you're not, Ms. Mayor, I'll address this to you and council. If we're not going to participate, I need to tell these guys to go on. They're wasting their time and costing us money. Let's get the study over with so we go back doing what we need to do. That's all. My comment and my question tonight was, can we get this information to ask for? If we can't, we're out.
Okay. We will, discuss this and come to a conclusion. And then I appreciate you coming.
Yes.
And, we will get back to you shortly.
Okay.
All right, thank you. All right. Next on the new business is need police chief, which will be on July 7th, 25, 5:30 to 7 o'clock. That's the information. All right, next on the agenda, the resolution authorizing and approving the acceptance of certain loans, assistance money from the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund Authority, authorizing the mayor to execute that certain loan assistance agreement between the town of Allendale and the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund Authority and other matters relating thereto.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, Mayor and Council, you all know I have been talking over the last few months and updating you all on what I commonly refer to as our second SRF grant, which is the $700,000 for the stationary generators to be placed at Allen, Ozzie, and Hill Street, which is on our sewer system side of the house. They sent me the paperwork a couple of weeks ago, had Mr. Davis's office to review and prepare the resolution. So this is in an effort to keep this project on track moving forward. DES is kind of putting some pressure on this timeline, so I'd like for us to make a motion tonight for you to go ahead and sign that paperwork and get it back to me so that I can get it turned back into them so that they can proceed forward with the project.
Okay. The motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize you to sign that certain paperwork authorizing and approving the acceptance of the certain loan assistance. And let me say this, this is not, we do not owe any money in conjunction with this grant. Like I said, I've been talking about this now probably about 2 years. You ever say Mr. Morgan as well aware of this, and I have been constantly updating Mayor and Council on this matter. It says loan, but this is in fact a forgiveness principle effort here. The town of Allendale owes no money in this picture. So again, authorizing and approving the acceptance of that certain loan assistance monies from the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund, authorizing the mayor to execute that certain loan assistance agreement between the town of Allendale and the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Fund Authority and other matters relating thereto.
Thank you. Okay, motion about the second. That you all give the mayor authorization to go ahead and sign for the loan assistance agreement between the town of Allendale and the South Carolina Water Quality Revolving Authority and other matters relating thereto. Come to a question.
Yes, sir, I have a question.
Go ahead.
On the second page, Right, borough section two. With the, project on complete satisfactory plans to return the loan assistance to the union. And that any failure to comply strictly with the such terms will result in a requirement of the projected, project sponsor to pay to, third all or a portion of the loan assistance. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It doesn't exactly say, if you get this and you comply, then the loan is forgivable. 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 But if you don't comply, when you don't be in compliance, there may be some penalties involved. But the onus is on compliance. I think you all, who's on implementation?
HPG is working on the project.
So you're a town engineer, you know, and they have licenses, so they have, standards, they have to follow to ensure compliance. So you're not, they're not necessarily town doing it itself, you're paid license engineer who will implement this for you. I don't know, how much work?
The grant is $700,000 again for those 3 stationary generators for our sewer system, Allen, Ozzy, and Hills. Like I said, I've talked about this for products. But we're at that point now where we've got to execute paperwork in a timely manner so that the project does not get delayed because of SCDS stipulations. And if Mr. Morgan wants to chime in, Mayor, with your permission, of course, to anything about this, because he's been instrumental in this process as well.
My concern, like I said, if we, I feel as if we may have to repay if we don't comply, like you said, and I know that, some other incidents where, some things that happened that we lost some money, so I just want to make sure that those terms and everybody else on the council is clear about what, being transparent is, I feel like it's honest question to ask, but, this works again, you all have your licensed engineers who are going to implement this for you, so their license, and their standards on the line, and, if there's a failure in compliance, it's not necessarily, how will be responsible, but if there's a failure of compliance, that's on a licensed professional, and you all have recourse to that. Trying to help, council reach out there and understand, what that clause relates to, as, Councilman Jackson mentioned, the money is, being given to the town to address, the state generators. And if you take some of that money and you want to put that away, that wouldn't be in compliance with the, agreement. So you would have to deal with that payment or some other issues as well, to your, just to put the money. So as long as you follow what you have requested the money for, and just on that, so that, you fine. Thanks, sir. Okay. It's a motion process second to allow the mayor to sign off on that loan. Any more questions? Are we clear to vote? Fill out your hands or approval. Same time to disapprove. Down to committee report.
Good evening, everyone. This is the income statement for period ending, May 31st, 2025. In our general fund, we have an expected percentage of 92%. The original budget was $1,935,962. Our remaining budget in the general fund is $713,962.35. In the water fund, water and sewer fund, the expected percentage there is also 92%. The original budget number was
$2,279,491, and the remaining budget is $658,545.52. Mr. Mayor, that concludes our.
Thank you, Chair. Next, police department. So, council, where your form is done, some kind of for us, and that's been for a while. That being said, there's been 2 guys officers, police department manager, the sheriff department manager, 911. Another citation to that, that 4 year investigations are coming up tomorrow, so that's gonna be a process, probably, that's a week. We have 1 homicide in county concurrent plan, we have 2 long searches that will be starting on the 23rd.
Make council aware of this. Well, I'm sorry, I apologize. Made 2 of my colleagues aware of this. There is a Facebook flag that states that some uncertified and some certified officers receive $5,500.
2024 posts that somebody commented on that. What did I see pop up out there? If you look at the original date of 2024.
I mentioned that to the mayor a couple of days ago. He said he was going to talk to you about it. Is that true? If not, we did not vote on it.
In 2024, the council did vote to have that done. That was cheap. That's when we was at Brand Building. Yeah, all that meeting. Y'all, the council did vote to have that done.
Okay, my colleague, day-to-day operation said that she was there, I was there, and said that was not voted upon to have a $5,500 raise.
That was for like 2 years, 2 years. If we had one that was, you had $2,000 sign-on bonus for uncertified or certified, and that was agreed on by council on that season. And then it was $5,000 bonus if you had 10 years or more. It was what voted on by council at that time.
That was a meeting we had at the Brant Building. I'm sure we do because it was something that Chief Wiggins asked for at that time. And because we were in a crunch and we had the additional dollars at that time, we were able to do that.
Okay, so basically we're sticking with that, or is that what you were telling me?
No, that was ever since that was an old post when Wiggins was here. It's been removed because as you voted.
Just seen a few minutes ago.
Well, he's supposed to be removing that.
Okay, that's what I was bringing up. I just checked it right before I was passed. So I made mention to council. It made mention on the like to the complete council. Will it be removed or are you going to keep it up there?
From my understanding, it should be removed. So, I mean, all I can do is check. I don't have full access to that website. I did not get that website. Okay. So I don't have full access. I have contacted Facebook to try to just delete that whole account because we don't know how to use it. So we can delete it if we can and start it when we need to. So that is a timely process. It's not something that happens overnight. Okay. But that post was the 2024 post.
Well, the reason why I brought it up is I'm concerned about some officers come over here and they basically see that and basically be able to say they have rights.
When somebody goes to an interview, they are explained to what the offer is, and they actually offer a finished letter. Therefore, they have to find that finished letter they are agreeing to. This is what pay is, this is what I expect to get, this is what we are.
Oh, okay, I understand that.
Nothing about a bonus to their.
Okay, and I understand that, but and I'm not trying to be rough, but we're not in the interview. I just would love for that to be removed as soon as possible, so we don't have anybody that basically say that this is what they posted, and they stay 4 weeks, and then they got $5,500.
It was supposed to be removed last week, from my understanding, but mine is not, I don't believe. Thank you. All right.
You got another question? Yes, sir. For the recruiting, are you looking at, certified officer?
We, talking to one certified officer now, and they gotta make their mind up.
Okay, I know you probably can't, I don't really like, I guess it's how you all don't even know, like, as far as where they'll be placed. But I know, you're supposed to be, like, having cameras and everything. I know some of them are, as far as, I feel like the citizen needs some type of, reassurance that, like cameras or whatever.
Cameras are up, it's in the process of being up. We have a mobile camera that was up. That mobile camera got shot. That was before we got to replace the mobile camera. That camera don't even belong to us. Therefore, we have to fix that. Because it belongs to us. Now, we're waiting on Dominion, so we can get dropped, so other cameras go into other communities. But without that Dominion and the whole process of the engineers, there's no cameras we put them into the whole small community. But we do have 70 cameras that are hooked and punched.
Any other questions, Chief? Thank you. All right. Okay, personnel?
We will be now advertising now that we were able to fill one position. We still have several police positions available and looking for certified officers as well as whatever, uncertain who's interested in a career in law enforcement. And we will be moving forward with the, advertisement for an administrator, within the next week. We're hoping to have that out. And that is about, all because we are moving forward. We were working on our police chief and working to get the most critical needs that citizens feel like right now they're in a critical situation with law enforcement. So we wanted to address the safety issue first and we can move forward.
Any questions for personnel? All right. Next.
Thank you, Mayor. We've been made aware that our boys sanitation, one of our vehicles, one of our other trash trucks is down still. The other vehicle that's supposed to be picking up our leaves and other debris, from what I understand, is still not in operation. Citizens are basically complaining about a lot of stuff that's all over town, debris and such. I just want to basically ask day-to-day operation where we are as far as our second garbage truck, and the time and manner when it's supposed to be repaired.
Okay, so the second trash truck, and I was considering, I just mixed sanitation, but the second trash truck is down because it's a closet. If you don't use that truck, use that shit, then it's one of those type of trucks, an old model truck, but it's a small, easy fix. The guys come tomorrow to actually fix the truck. Now the real truck is operational. As far as the limbs and debris, Mr. Barry told me that they all want to borrow the backhoe from the hardware store in Allendale. So he allowed us to use that the backhoe, and they're going to be picking up bags on Thursday as long as the weather permits. So there's nothing wrong with the limb truck. It is operational. It is functioning properly. It's just the fact that we have the backhoe and we have somebody looking at that. Our backhoe as well, but it's like I said, we're gonna be pricey. But as long as because we tried to borrow the county one, but that's not working sufficient. There's some issues with mechanically as far as they're not staying cranked. So therefore, the hardware store, I forget the gentleman name, Mr. Kirk, yes, that's what he said. So Mr. Kirk is allowing us, we definitely appreciate it. I'm going to give my gratitude. I think
is gonna allow the town to use the backhoe, only for the limbs, so we can get some of the bags, up one side of the road and the limbs, so we can kind of, stop that from being a nuisance and going. Another question that just came to me. Patterson Street, we have a generator. We want to know whether that generator is still, in Patterson Street.
Yes, it is.
Okay, all right. Thank you, that's all my questions.
Okay, anybody got any questions for the council? If not, water and sewage.
Okay, I'm gonna give a quick update for Mr. Badger before I go touch on a few things I have. He stated that leaks have been fixed on Flat Street in front of the community center, Jackson Street, Ellis Street. They did some work on Dale Street as well, and also on Hill Street. And he says that Mr. Ellis with Resource Mechanics, who's another contractor that we sometimes use, is walking him through an issue that has apparently occurred to the Allen Street lift station. In my report, the SRF grant number 1, which was our water assessment grant, which did an evaluation on our hydrants and valves and things of that nature. It submitted a pre-application to what is called SEED program back on May 27, 2025, to potentially gain assistance with funding needs to make those necessary repairs to the hydrants and valves. The SEED program was brought to our attention by affiliates of the town.